So for today's walk with me, I've decided to take you down on the streets of Montreal near my house. And today's reflection is about when is it a good moment to push and when is resistance a sign to maybe reconvene, maybe change your path a little bit. Notice that it's like maybe a sign that it's not exactly what you're supposed to be doing. And the reason I'm saying this and talking about this today is with regard to these videos, because coming out here and filming this video was something that I've had on my list of things to do all day, and I have been dragging my feet and I have been basically postponing it. And I know that whenever you start anything new, there's definitely some resistance that comes with that, and I'm prepared and ready for that. And at the same time, I'm also at a phase in my life where I just want to be really careful not to keep doing the same things I've done all my life. And the reason I say that is because I basically grew up in a generation um, where working hard and basically pushing through and being productive and basically hard work were really good qualities. And I also grew up in a family with a lot of workaholics, and I say that with a lot of love and a lot of affection, because I think I'm a workaholic myself, and I also know that there's so many benefits from working hard and pushing through, and also just the gratitude that you can get from that for doing something that's hard and then feeling really good about that afterwards. But my thing is that I've done that my whole life and I'm really good at it. I have been a hard worker my whole life, and I feel like it's also worked for me. But at what price? And about 2 years ago, I just came to realize that I felt like my whole life was just hard work all the time. And I realized that in a way, it came from this belief that somehow anything good needed if you wanted anything good to happen, you needed to work for it. Nothing came free. And that actually somehow in my belief system, it was only in the long run, if you really pushed, that you would be happy. And so I think in a way I attracted all these situations with hard work because I felt like I wanted to make sure that I would get that really good thing at the end. And so since in my head you could only get that really good thing at the end if you worked hard, then I attracted all these situations where you had to work hard. And I realized, though, about 2 years ago, that everything I did had to have hard work. Like when I bought a house, it couldn't just be a house that I was happy with and like could move in. No, the house needed to be one where I had to work really hard. I had to be like almost, redoing all the walls and things. And it turned out actually, though, it was a lot bigger than we expected with my boyfriend. I mean, it took us a huge amount of time, huge amount of effort, a burnout, also like busting through your finances, busting through your energy, your time, almost busted through our relationship. So, that's not good. I was realizing that my career was the same thing. I mean, I'm good at what I do now, but I don't think I was naturally good at it. So I had to push and work. And again, there's benefits to that. And there's something really nice about knowing that you can do that. And I think that there's times when we do need to push through, and that's something that I know I can do. My thing, though, is that about 2 years ago, when I had that realization, I just thought, you know what? I don't want to do that anymore. And I told myself that I wanted to now take resistance and anything hard as a sign that maybe it wasn't for me, that it wasn't my path. There's that kind of metaphor about that drop of water, where the drop of water gets to this wall, and not a drop of water, but a river, let's say. A river can either get to a wall, and for sure, if the river and the water, we've all seen it, the water is really strong sometimes and can carve holes, and it can carve tons of things out. It can carve passages. Um, but at the same time, the water also has a choice sometimes to get to that exact same place just by floating around it and getting to that other side or the ocean or wherever it's trying to get freely and without any force. And so I decided that I wanted to be like that drop of water. I decided that I no longer wanted to work hard. I no longer wanted to push. And that if I got to a place of resistance, then I would take it as a sign. But here I am taking this course and taking this course about, growing my business, and the idea is about being consistent, and the idea is also about, pushing through our resistance, pushing through these little moments where we have our doubts or that we're, dragging our feet. And I'm coming to wonder if, I definitely need to find a balance here, because I also know that when we are out of our comfort zones, that resistance shows up very strongly. And it reminded me of this time when I first actually moved to Montreal, and I decided to take up swing dancing. And I'm so happy that when I took the course, I actually signed up for 10 classes because it came in a bundle or something like that. And I'm so happy I did that, because basically, if I hadn't, I would have stopped after the first class, because I remember feeling like such an idiot during that first class. I remember being like, gosh, there's a lot of wind. I remember thinking, this is not for me. I have two left feet. I don't have any rhythm. I'll never be able to dance. I'll never be able to do this. And it's not because I thought I was a bad dancer. At the time, I liked to dance. It wasn't that. It was just this particular dance, and this particular, this particular dance and this particular thing was just really different, and the rhythm was different, and the moves were different. And so if I had only been on that first class, I would have stopped. But since I had 10 of them, I had to push on through. And at the end of the 10 classes, I actually ended up really liking swing dance. And I was actually a lot better at it than I was when I first started. I wasn't like a professional or anything, but I was good enough so that I could have fun dancing. And I was good enough so that I decided to keep on taking more classes and keep on progressing. And that was really fun. And I'm so happy that I pushed through that initial resistance. And so it's the same thing here. I'm, wanting to realize when's there, what's the difference? What's the difference between being that water that's just pushing through and doing it like with blinders on and just push, 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 not looking up? And when is it just a moment to push on through no matter what? Not, not, you know, not taking that resistance as a signal or a sign that it's not for you. And I think that the resistance that I'm feeling now is more the resistance that comes from trying something new. And as adults, I think it's really hard to show ourselves not being perfect. And when I say that, it's like a certain type of perfection, because the type of image I like to put out to people is that I'm not that perfect, and that I'm laid back and carefree and I don't really care about things. And that's the image that I'm trying to show. But when push comes to shove and I show something that's very vulnerable to me, that's when I don't want to show my imperfection. I kind of like cater my imperfection to show people that I'm a certain way. But I realize here that what's challenging for me is to not be perfect, or to show this kind of like phase that we used to go through a lot when we were kids, when we were learning things, and we were much more kind of used to not being perfect and not showing our perfect selves. So that's about where I am on this reflection. And I'm going to continue to, be gently pressuring myself. And I also think that it's a good opportunity for me to maybe learn, see if I can see a difference between when to push, and when to also just be like that drop of water. And so, as always, I'm wishing you lots of love and lots of laughter as you also learn maybe that same lesson. And I will see you next video. Thanks so much for watching.